Hey, Lindsay, how are you?
Excellent, Michelle. What's going on in New York today?
Well, it is hot.
Is it?
Very, very hot. Very,
Oh,
very, very, very hot.
yeah, late summer, kind of like
Y-
really
The
fall
heat,
now
yeah.
with this episode, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but today, woo, like
Really? That's
yeah, it's
crazy.
like, oh, you don't want to be outside at all hot.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
Yeah.
so our listeners need to know we are recording this in early
Yes.
September. By
But
the
you get
time
those random hot fall days too. You never know.
you
So,
can, for sure. It sort of surprises you. It's just hard. You can't predict the weather anymore, Michelle. Who knows? We could
yeah.
be like snowstorm to drought to who knows what, right? Things are getting
Yep.
crazy.
That's true. It's true. How's everything with you?
Great. Feeling good. The sun is shining here in Denver. Pure blue skies. I love it. Yep, no complaints,
Very
like I said.
nice.
I always say
Very
that now,
nice.
no complaints, but I'm getting into that as a pattern, but maybe I'll throw something else in there.
To say no complaints other than no
Yeah.
complaints.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's becoming a habit. So,
That's funny.
everything's fine, Michelle.
Good. Okay, good. Well, so Lindsay, though, I don't know if you remember this, but there was one day we rarely cancel a recording.
Yeah, rarely.
Um,
Right.
but recently my kids were sick and I did have to cancel on you. And
Mhm.
so but an expression came out of it and we're going to do
Yay.
an episode about it.
There's always a silver lining, Michelle.
That's right. So my kids had what's called a hand, foot, and mouth.
Ugh.
That's where you get it's gross. It's you get these sores and around your mouth. And anyway, but that's not the point. But we kept on wanting to believe we were at my in-laws and we kept on wanting to believe, oh, it's not that. It's my daughter, it's the pacifier irritation. It's this, it's that. And so my mother-in-law and I were trying to decide what the kids had. And eventually they both came down with a fever and it was like, okay. And
At some
yeah,
point, yeah.
at some point it happened. And so the expression that we used was if it looks like a duck, okay, but we couldn't remember the rest of the expression. But I feel like most of the time people don't say the whole thing. But Lindsay,
Yes.
do you know this expression? What is it?
Well, we have talked before about shortening expressions that are famous.
That's true.
I kinda know this one. So if it looks like a duck, if it swims like a duck, and it quacks like a duck, then it probably is a duck, right? So, really interesting point, right? You might just
Yeah.
say, "If it looks like a duck," and that's
Right,
it,
I
and we
didn't
know what
even
you're
know the
saying.
rest of it. I actually had to look it up. I think this is from Wikipedia. I don't know, where I had to look up the rest of the expression exactly how it is.
Yeah,
And I'm sure there are variations of it as well.
for sure.
But the point of it is, what does it mean? I wasn't talking about ducks.
Ducks. You're definitely not talking about ducks. That could be another episode. We could talk about dogs, but today it's more about saying if it has like how do I say this? I'm not sure how to describe this actually. If it
It's
has the
like
characteristics of something, everything is lining up, then go ahead and admit that it probably is this
right.
thing.
It's
Don't
like
try to convince yourself it's something else, right?
right. So for my kids being sick, it was like, oh, they have a rash. They they aren't feeling
And meanwhile,
well.
you
They
tick
have
all the symptoms on WebMD, right, for his hand, foot,
right,
and
and
mouth.
it's like, even though we were trying because it's a really not a nice one. Not a nice, illness to get, like, you're trying, "Oh, well, maybe it's this, maybe it's that," and it's like, well, if it looks like a duck, like, if all the
Yeah.
signs are there, everything is pointing to that being what it is, then that's probably what it is.
This is fun. Actually, I don't really use this to be honest that
Yeah.
much, but I wish I had this phrase on hand when we were in Egypt.
And Lindsay, you're right. It's not an expression that you use every day. It's not gonna, sometimes we want to teach you guys the ones that you're gonna use very frequently, but it's also important to just teach things that will come up. Like this
Yes.
comes up.
Yes.
Not every day. It's a very specialized meaning.
Yes.
It's so
Yes.
it's fun when you do end up using it. Unfortunately,
Mhm.
I was using a bit about my kids being sick. They're knock on wood, they're like, "Fine, it's been a month or so." But, yeah, it was just one of those, "Okay, this is so obvious. Everything is telling me that's what this is." And I think that's what it
Yes.
is.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. It's kind of a matter of don't tell lies to yourself, like, just admit it and
Right.
then move on and get the treatment you need, get the medicine you need. I wonder where this term comes from. Do we know at all, Michelle?
No, I didn't look into where it came from. I was more concerned about the meaning, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure there's some. Yeah, I wonder why. Why do we say this?
Yeah, 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 for sure. Michelle, are there any other episodes we should check out right now before we get into today's?
Yeah, well, we're getting deep in today's already. We're like flying through it. But yeah, go ahead on listen to episode 2063, which is create a big artsy comparison in English. That's another great one to listen to. And guys, make sure you hit follow wherever you are listening to the podcast so you never miss anything.
Yes, I love that. Where do we go from here, Michelle? We got a little jumbled up in our notes.
Yes, that's okay. Well, I mean, so let's talk about other scenarios where you might use this, right? Like I
Yes.
feel I like I said, I think it's used. I don't think of it as a positive expression used about positive things. It could be
Yeah,
like,
I
oh,
agree.
if if somebody's waiting for a call back about a job and they think they have it, but they're not sure, you could say if it looks like a dog, like, but I feel like it has more of a negative feeling about something you don't want to admit. What do you think?
Yes, I pretty much agree. Yeah, I really don't think it would be yeah. It's more negative or something that's maybe annoying or something you don't want to be true. It doesn't have to be devastating, something
Right.
small, right? But it's when we're not being honest with ourselves, it's when this phrase comes in. Right? It's a good time
Yeah.
to say it. Yeah. Yeah.
Right, right, right. So let's talk about some scenarios. So maybe in one, it could be if someone can't be trusted or someone's personality is being revealed, right?
Ooh,
So
yes.
what might that sound like?
She never showed up on time, but I didn't realize she would quit.
If it looks like a duck.
Mm. You know what this reminds me of? There's an expression. Is it Maya Angelou who said this? I might be misquoting. It's like if when someone shows you who they are,
Oh,
believe
believe
them.
them. Yeah, when someone yes, I do know
Yeah.
that one. Wait, hold on.
Let me
I'm gonna
see.
should we let me look it up.
Well, here we go. Let me see. Yeah. Yeah, it is Maya Angelou. I don't know what book it's from or if it was a poem, but
Yeah.
that one feels a little more profound and serious than this. This is more like
Yeah.
using the word duck. Like, how serious could it
Yeah,
really be?
exactly. It's a you it's fun.
It's a duck. But I think that's the more serious version. Like, if you have someone
Right.
in your life who's just not treating you right, right? That's what she was kinda talking about.
Yeah, it makes me think of also there's that book, remember it used to be popular, then they made it a movie, I don't know, I didn't read it, I didn't see it, but it was called He's Just Not That Into You.
Oh my gosh, I love that movie. You didn't see the
R I
movie?
didn't, isn't
It's
it with
so cool.
Jennifer Aniston?
Michelle, you have some gaps in your cultural knowledge. I definitely do too. Oh my gosh, huge gaps. But you need to go watch that this weekend. It's I think it's with Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah,
There's a few different storylines. They do like a parallel storyline thing, I think, in
yeah.
that one. It's great. It's great.
Yeah. Okay, okay,
Yes,
I will. So, but do you see why it made like it's like, oh, he's just like the concept is,
totally.
sometimes people make excuses. Oh, they didn't text me back because
Totally,
oh,
totally,
maybe they
totally.
didn't get the message. They didn't have signal. Oh, they're just really busy right now. And then
Or
they just say
mhm.
maybe, if the person really likes you, they're going to make an effort. So this
Oh
is
my
kind
gosh,
of like
completely.
yeah, this idea of like, oh, well, if it looks like a duck, it's like she's just not that into you, unfortunately.
It's so true, and this is, like, I think, coming out of years of dating, this is the number one way I think people deceive themselves, right?
Yeah.
And end up
Yeah.
getting hurt because yeah, I think you're right. If someone is really interested in you, they make the effort, they will be there, they will not be canceling dates, they will reply to your text
Yeah.
messages, maybe not within 3 minutes, but, like,
Yeah.
within a day or something, they'll reply to your texts, and so I think,
Right.
we tend to fool ourselves and tell ourselves
Yeah.
lies, right? This is about
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
honest with ourselves. Interesting.
Exactly. So this next example is if also like I kind of mentioned this already if you're waiting to hear results of something. So let's
Yes.
do that example. So I still haven't heard back from the company on if they want to offer me the job. It's been 3 weeks.
Well, I hate to say this, Michelle, but if it looks like a duck, hard. Hard, and you have to make sure that you're delivering that in the right way, that someone is not
Yeah,
super
yeah, yeah,
sensitive
yeah.
about it. Make sure you know the person you're talking to. There's a lot of nuances here, Michelle, right?
Yes, especially in that one. Like I just feel
Yeah, yeah.
um and then this last role play is what we were talking about. If you're waiting to hear back from someone, maybe a date or something. So here we go.
Ooh, okay.
Why hasn't he called?
I don't know.
Do you think he will call?
Oh, man. I don't know. I hope so.
It's just that I keep texting him and he doesn't respond. Am I being ghosted?
Well, if it looks like a duck, he's not right for you anyways. And
Okay.
all of these examples, that's the interesting part that we mentioned in the beginning. We're not saying the whole thing. You just don't have
Right.
time to say the whole thing. We don't recommend.
I don't think most people know the whole thing.
Yeah, that's right. So, but what you need to do, Michelle, is what's the tone of voice?
Yeah.
Well, if
Is
it
if it
looks
looks
like
like
a
a
duck,
duck.
right? And you don't have to rub it in and be too animated, but if it looks like a duck and then
Yeah.
move on. Hey, he's
Right.
just not right for you anyways. You can do better,
Right.
right?
Right.
Something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I mean,
Mm,
it could be you might be trying to support the person. It could also be kind of a tough love thing, which actually I was
yes.
thinking we could do a follow-up on the expression tough love.
Mhm.
But yeah, so it could, it really depends, Lindsay, like you said, how you use it or if it might just make the person feel bad, but sometimes it's just that you need to accept it, right?
Totally. I think this topic is really interesting because it's about being honest with oneself. And I think now that I think about it, like now that I'm in my early 40s, I think a lot of our 20s and 30s are kind of learning how to be honest with ourselves about so
Yeah.
many things in life
Yeah.
dating, finding the right partner, finding the right job. Like if you're
Yeah.
going to a job every day that you hate, maybe there's a use of this expression or just self honesty when you're having a
Yeah.
conversation with yourself or with a friend, right? There's so much to get over that hump in life a little bit so that by the time we're like in the middle of our lives, we're living our best life. We're living true
Yeah.
to what we should be doing and what we love, right?
That's yeah. I think that's a good point. Yeah, I think there's a lot of, "Oh, but maybe this and
Maybe
maybe that,"
this,
and we're gonna
maybe
a
he's
high
just
keeper.
afraid. He's so interested that he's afraid of his
Yeah.
emotions. And so that's why he's not getting back to me. Like, what? No.
"Oh, he's just a bad boy. He's
Yeah.
the bad boy." Yeah.
So, I mean, the moral of the story is go watch that movie. He's just not that into you for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is a key piece of getting older and like getting comfortable in the world, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
To be able to recognize the ducks.
The dogs. This is good. So, Michelle, I feel like, is there anything else we want to say to our listeners? Any takeaway for today?
Yeah, this is a good life lesson. It's also a really useful expression. It's not one that you're gonna hear, every single day, but you will hear it. And also it's just like this. We also talked about the deeper meaning of it and the life lessons that we can learn from this kind of an expression. So it's good to think about that as well.
Yeah, these are, I feel like life in our 20s and 30s, it presents scenarios, and the scenarios say to us, you have an option to learn right now, learn
Yeah.
this lesson, or you could keep like deceiving yourself, right? And when we do
Yeah.
take the path of I'm going to learn, we can be really happy ultimately. Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
profound. Wow. Well, we got deep here,
Wow,
Michelle.
wait, went from ducks to being
ducks to
profound and
ducks
just
to
deep
deep.
deep ducks, deep
Yeah.
ducks. Anyway,
All right,
all
good
right.
stuff.
Well,
Good
guys,
stuff.
thank you for listening and we will see you on the next episode.
All right, Michelle, take care. I'll talk to you soon.
All right,
Bye.
bye.